Alright, P1ss and Vinegar day 37, back and rear delts. Today was hit and miss, a few things weren't great. Started with the neutral grip chin-ups with these fucking stupid handles I made. And I forgot I can't swear at the start of the video for the algorithm, whatever, too late. You can't use those handles, they were uneven and they felt unstable. So that's whatever, I'm just going to do chin-ups. I like weighted chin-ups over wide grip chin-ups, because wide grip chin-ups, when they're too heavy, just hit my brachialis. So these are better, and my fucking chin-ups gotten hell weak. Like, I'm 77 kilos right now, add 10, 87, and I only got like 9 reps. Whereas when I was just 87 kilos, in a better fed state, I was doing like 20 chin-ups. So it's funny how adding weight is that much harder than just being a certain weight. But I also have just probably lost strength. A lot of times when you weight cut, you gain strength in body weight movements because logic follows. When you lose weight, you have less weight to then lift, so it's lighter. But that hasn't been the case for me, and for whatever reason. My body weight movements have not gone up at all. The only movements that have really gone up have been my squats and my dumbbell presses. But that's fine. That's all good. Bulk's coming up over the corner in a week from now. So just doing a rest pause, and then I do a drop set, and then I do a wide grip drop set with the band. These are really, really good for hitting the lats, especially the top lats and like the teres minor and major. So yeah, I do a lot of drop sets for these, for pull-ups and chin-ups, just because I have also pretty poor mind muscle connection on them. And I feel like if I just do one straight set to failure, or just one set without like a bunch of drop sets and shit, I just don't feel like I hit the lats hard enough. And I'm not really worried about having a big back. It's not really my thing. I mean, the thing about back muscles is when you're a natural, which I am, obviously, obviously I'm natural, look at me. But when you're a natural, your back muscles can get freakishly big. There's a lot of examples of naturals getting what would look like an enhanced back naturally. Like legs and back, so long as your genetics can permit it, can get very, very big. Whereas like arms, delts, chest, traps, those kind of muscles, they're very hard, or, you know, not hard, but they're hard to make look unnatural. Like, it's very seldom do you see a guy who isn't on gear who has arms the size of a gearhead, or the proportions, like the insertions and all that kind of stuff that you get when you have all that glucose and increased protein muscle synthesis and more water weight in the muscle. So yeah, realistically, I should worry about my back as a natural, because it's one of the only muscles you can get freakishly big as a natural lifter. But that's fine. I'm not really that big a deal. I'm really more interested in delts, chest, and traps at the moment. Everything else is just let everything else grow at a good rate. But the main things I want to really blow up as quick as possible is my chest, traps, and delts, because those are the most important muscles as a natural or an enhanced lifter regardless. Now I'm doing some Yates rows. These didn't feel great either, because I was trying to experiment with some neck supported sort of thing. I was putting my head on some straps, that way I didn't have to get my lower back involved, but that kind of didn't work out as intended. So I'm gonna have to keep trying to trial this. I might just put up with the fact that I just have to bend over and let my lower back kind of take some strain too, because I have a very weak lower back, very weak spinal erectors that I'm trying to fix. But when I do these Yates rows or any bent over barbell row, my lower back gets hit a lot, which takes some of the focus out of the lats that I'm trying to hit. But again, at the end of the day, if your arm is going from point A to point B, whether or not you can necessarily feel the best spine muscle connection, the muscles are getting hit regardless. So my muscle connection is overrated to a certain extent. It might give you a slight benefit, but in the long run, realistically, what matters is you get stronger and that you're lifting heavy enough and you're hitting failure. But it does feel better when you can feel the muscles you're trying to target. So I'm going to try and figure out how to chest support this or neck support this. That way I can take some of the stress off my lower back and focus more on the lats and rhomboids and rear delts, etc. But the Yates row is great, and my back day is kind of basically based off Dorian Yates's back day. Like, I don't do a whole lot of drop sets. I focus more on rest pauses, which is something that he was more into. I would do force reps, but I don't have a training partner who can kind of give me force reps. And on back day, like, with Yates rows, you can't do force reps because a partner can't really help you do force reps on that. Chin ups, not so much either. But he had one of the greatest backs of all time, so I thought, fuck it, I'd emulate his back day training. And obviously, I emulate a lot of his training in general, in the fact that I trained in high intensity, one set to failure training. All my videos are black and white as homage to his blood and guts training. But yeah, Yates rows, you know, I don't feel him as good as other rows, but I mean, he had the fucking craziest back, so I wanted to give him a go and see what they do for my back. And what they do is train my lower lats, which a lot of other movements, or pretty much no other movement ever has done. So that's the main reason I'm doing them, is to try to train my lower lats, because I have an easy time hitting my upper lats, not so much an easy time hitting my lower lats. Now I'm doing some sort of body English unilateral rows, and this way, you know, I'm using a bit of momentum, but the main purpose of this is similar to a shrug, where I'm not worrying about strict form or contraction. I'm more worrying about the stretch overload, because the way you really grow rhomboids is through the stretch. And then coming back, like, you have to rotate your trunk in order to totally contract your rhomboids. And the rhomboids contract far better when you do them unilaterally, because now you can rotate your trunk, whereas if you do them bilaterally, you can't fully twist at the top and twist at the bottom. So you can't get that great stretch and you can't get that great contraction. And now I'm just doing really heavy, almost cheating. And now I'm just retracting my scapula, just really stretching out the rhomboids. So yeah, they don't look pretty. They're very cheated, but they definitely grow your rhomboids to a good degree. And then also they stretch my lats to the bottom. And this is, again, similar to Dorian. Dorian did a hammer strength row, which in this similar fashion. I don't have that machine, unfortunately, so I do this instead. Obviously, I could do a dumbbell variation, but my dumbbells don't go heavy enough. They only go to 40. And I have a pretty strong unilateral row, so they're not heavy enough. And then plus, my lower back, once again, is a limiting factor there. I find that doing them bent over like that, my lower back starts to take a lot of the mind muscle connection out of the muscles I'm trying to actually activate. So yeah, these are good. Rhomboids, if you look at an anatomy chart of the human back, or if you, in fact, don't look at that, because anatomy charts create twinks. They don't make big muscular anatomy charts. Look up Dorian Yates's back, and look at the sausages that run down the side of his spines. Like, that shit, that is super important for having that unnatural, freaky looking back. Another example is a guy called Netherbeast, who you may or may not know of. He's a very old YouTube guy, a lot of drama around him, but he was an example of a guy who was natural, who built, but didn't look like he was natural, because simply because his back was so fucking big, and he did very, very heavy rhomboid sort of rows that you just saw me doing there. So anyway, rambling, but rhomboids brutally important for having a big, thick, monstrous back. Now I'm doing rear delts. This is the definitive rear delt raise for me. This is what I'm going to do from now on, because I feel this one the most. This one is super consistent because it's chest supported. There's no cheating. It's super strict. It feels really good. And at the end, I don't have to drop set. I can just start doing kind of an explosive. It's like a force rep by just going more explosive, which you'll see in a second. So I start off strict. That way I can fail strictly, and then I start adding some sort of pseudo cheat reps. Anytime that you can opt in for strict and then immediately, this is now not strict, that is better than drop setting or force or rest pausing, because you could just immediately get more tension. Obviously, some movements you can't do this on. You have to do rest pauses. You have to do drop sets. But on like bicep curls or movements like this, where you can start cheating them a little bit to get more reps, that is preferred. And then I start doing a variation drop set where I do face pulls, which are also for rear delts, but you're much stronger in these. But because I've pre-exhausted through the harder variation, which is the rear delt raise, now all of a sudden 15 kilos feels super light, even though normally I do like 45. And then I finish off with another Dorian Yates motion, these kind of cheated rear delt raises where you go super heavy and really focus on getting a big contraction at the top with really bent elbows. This way you can kind of hit your rear delts, hit your rhomboids, hit your teres major, minor, mid traps, lower traps, a lot of different back muscles with this one. And these are brutal. I had to take a quick rest pause and then keep going. So you can't really take these to mechanical failure because they're already cheated. But that's fine. These are just like kind of a finisher movement for me. And that's it for today. That's my back day, my rear delt day. A few things about it I didn't like that I'll have to fix in the future. Make a mental note of making a better way of doing neutral grip pull-ups, because those PVC pipes I was using were really shit. And figure out a better way of doing my Yates rows without compromising my lower back. But I might just have to suck it up and just deal with my... Anyway, see you guys tomorrow for more Piss and Vinegar. Bye-bye.